I am the way to the city of woe. I am the way to eternal pain. I am the way among the people lost. Justice moved my high maker, who by divine power made me supreme wisdom and primal love. Before me was nothing but those things which are eternal, and eternal I endure. Abandon all hope, you who enter here.
For you are now listening to the Forest Creek Podcast. Welcome to the show. Last time we sat down to try to do an episode, what happened?
Oh, last time we tried.
We didn't even sit down really to do the episode.
We just went to one of the most amazing restaurants we've ever been to.
I was with you because you were getting groceries. And then we were like, should we do dinner first and then podcast, or podcast and dinner? And we're like, okay, more places are open right now.
Yeah.
Probably do dinner and then squeeze in a podcast.
Yeah.
And then we went and like, where should we go?
And we went to the best restaurant ever.
For our second time.
For our second time, because we recently discovered High's Steakhouse and Cocktail Bar.
High's Steakhouse and Cocktail Bar. Whereabouts is it?
Somewhere downtown
Vancouver.
Yeah.
First time we went there, we were sitting around the park trying to figure out where to go for dinner. And I was like, I'm feeling a steakhouse. Let's pick a steakhouse. And I looked at the place. I didn't read any other details. I just went two highest rated places. Let's pick one of them.
And the pictures, it looked very fancy and nice.
Yeah. And I feel like we were in between two places, and then we saw the pictures from inside of High's, and we're like, we gotta go here.
Oh yeah, because they had like a dungeon tunnel for a hallway in one of them. Like,
brick work on the building, inside the building.
And it's awesome. When you enter, it's like you go inside, they take your coat, and then you pass like this dark lounge area.
Yes.
More for like individuals, like just going to the bar.
You're just gonna sit there and have a cocktail with your friend.
Yeah. And then through the dungeon hall, it's like this beautiful, spooky arc.
The lights are low. I love that in a steakhouse when the lights are low. I want the lights to be low now. It's just, if it warm and low, you know, that's the thing. You want it warm and low.
Yeah.
You don't want to just turn the lights off and just have the cool light from outside.
No, it's got to be orange. That's what
candlelight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've not been a fan of all the large. Is fluorescent the term? I don't know. All the white lights that are going around. I think they're fluorescent lights. On the street lamps?
Oh, on the street lamps.
Yeah, street lamps, highways. Oh yeah, they're everywhere.
I don't know. I guess it makes you feel a little bit more awake.
Yeah,
you
it's
want
more
drivers to be
awake. I see
awake.
That. I've also heard it's I've also heard it's more difficult to find your vein. So
your vein?
Yeah. So you've got less heroin addicts that are homeless doing heroin under your street lamp. Because it's more apparently under orange lights, it's actually rather easy to find.
I'm not sure that was the reason why. Anyway, High's Steakhouse had $4 signs on their Google review, and I never saw that till after we went.
Oh, that makes
sense. Here's the thing. Do you think those $4 signs are worth it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah. It's like, because you could pay a lot for other similar experiences.
Here's the thing. What makes it worth it is one man. And his name is James.
Hello, James. Yes, that was the waiter that we had. We got him the first time we went, and then we asked for him the second time.
Pure happenstance, we got him the first time. And second time we requested him. Impromptu, because we didn't know we were going to go there. We didn't plan it. We didn't plan on going there for another year.
You requested it. I was down to meet new people, but I'm glad you did request it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It blew my mind. James remembered us very well. So much so that he remembered our orders and the drinks we had. So I was like, I'm deciding what drink to get. And he said, last time you had the Purple Rain, right? I was like, what the heck, man? This is a week and a half ago.
It would have taken me a minute. I have a pretty good memory for these things. And it would have taken me a minute. He remembered it faster than I did. After.
Blew my mind.
The first time we went there, we walked in and we saw the prices and we were like, we're here. But we're going to commit to this bit.
Yeah, because I don't know about you, but I forgot that fancy equals expensive.
Yeah.
And I'd never been in a place like this.
We looked at the prices and you were like, you know what? I just came into some money today. Let's just go at it.
Yeah. Which was lucky.
I was
But
like, I'm gonna commit to the bit. I like this place. I want to have a good experience here.
so good. We had way too much, but it was just enough.
We ordered like course after course after course, like
I think
cocktails, wine and stuff.
we had 2 appetizers and 2 desserts.
Well, because we like got an appetizer, and I'm like, what is this that's on table service? And I want to try it.
I'd never even heard of table service.
No.
You said, "Oh, there's table service," and I was like, "What the heck is table service?"
And I pointed over to like where a guy was like,
Yeah.
like the flames were shooting up from a pan as he was next to.
So cool.
I love that. I love watching that. Yeah, but we got table service from one of those for what I turned into an aperitif. It wasn't really an appetizer.
Oh my goodness, the steak Diane this time.
We had the steak Diane the second time.
was
The first
yes.
time was like
So that I think was
tartare.
more of an appetizer because that was far less expensive than the steak Diane.
yeah, the
So I
steak
think
Diane
the
was
way
a
it
meal.
has, because there's 3 options:
Yeah.
steak tartare, steak Diane, and bananas Foster.
Yes.
So appetizer, entree, dessert.
You could do just table service for all 3. Really.
You could,
Yeah.
100%, and I would, because that was amazing.
They were all amazing every time we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we almost shot for the bananas Foster a second time.
Oh, dude. Whenever I went to this place, and generally when I go to places, I want to order different things every time and try everything. But this was the one time I was like, but that Bananas Foster. And it's the only place I've ever had it, never even heard of Bananas Foster before.
Here's
amazing.
the thing. Okay, this is a steakhouse.
Yeah.
You know me as somebody who knows steak at least a little bit.
Yes.
I've had a lot of steaks.
It's, at least a little bit is, understatement.
I'm also somebody who's picky
Mm-hmm.
in my own way about this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the top 3 best steak experiences I've ever had have all been in that restaurant.
Shoot, I was like, we've only been there twice, but we had the steak Diane.
We had steak Diane. We had like other. I mean, even the tartare we did was chucked. It was chucked.
Yeah.
it was-
That's
it was
not,
chucked.
I wouldn't call that a steak.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess top 4 beef experiences.
Yeah.
This is an amazing time that we had.
Yeah.
We shot on the. We went try everything that we tried turned out amazing.
Yeah.
It kind of became a rule of thumb. Was like if you read something on a menu, you don't know if it's not. Maybe even if it's something that you wouldn't typically try, or you wouldn't typically go for it. You double take at it for a moment because you know that if there's one place that's gonna do this in the most
Yeah.
amazing way.
Because everywhere I go, people like, don't order the rare steak. They'll basically give it to you cold.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, I don't want to do that. So I've been getting medium rare my whole life. But the first time we went there, I decided the steak I wanted. And when it came down to rare, I was like, I'm going to ask James what he thinks. And so I did. And without hesitation, he went rare. And then I think he caught himself. I don't think they're supposed to tell you what you should or how you should have something. It's like they can suggest it because without a beat, without skipping a beat, he went rare. They went, if that you like that sort of thing. And sort of corrected himself, and I was like, rare it is.
I think it's more like they're not supposed to tell you these kind of things unless you ask.
Yes.
So as soon as you ask, you like uncork the bottle a little bit.
Yeah.
Which we got excited about because we just started asking him everything.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So it's so fun, and he answers everything
Yes.
perfectly truthfully. It's so funny.
Again,
it's like if there actually is.
I feel like we would have had an amazing time no matter who our waiter was.
Yeah. True.
We just happened to make a friend that night.
Because we did, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Because we did get the guy that made the steak tartare was not James, but he was delightful himself.
Yeah. So I'm sure we would have had an amazing time.
Yeah, but I don't know, man.
But we had an especially amazing time.
I want to see how long we can go to Highs and only have James serve us.
You're gonna ask for
I
it
don't
every
want to
time we walk
experience.
in.
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Next time we're going to reserve it, and we're going to reserve James if we can.
This is never something I'll dispute.
'Cause that would be amazing, because James is delightful.
And apparently is now a listener to the podcast.
That would be.
Did you ever
that'd be
think
delightful.
we would get to these heights of
Right.
fame?
Highs. Get it?
No.
The restaurant name?
I know the
Yeah.
name is. Okay. All right.
So you got it.
Well, we got our obligatory Jared moments in the podcast. This is the second episode that we've ever done. Ever.
This is the second episode.
Because we went to the short history of this podcast is that I did 2 failed ones before it. And then when I started doing this one, it was also kind of failed. But I was like working out how to do a podcast the whole time. So if you go to the beginning of our repertoire, you'll find episode 7 is entitled First Episode.
It is.
Technically, yeah.
It's the first episode.
But
yeah,
it's
on
marked.
a technical
It's
level.
marked with number 7
Yeah.
because, of course, the theme was most podcasts fail before they reach 7
I
episodes.
think it's more that we released 6 episodes and then you decided to take them off.
That is true. Yeah. So it's 7 is the first episode. This is number 39. It's our second episode. The time between 38 and 39 has been a considerable break.
Yeah, what was episode 38 about?
38 was Chance and I sat down to review Indiana Jones.
Oh, that's been a hot minute.
Yeah.
'Cause I remember
it's been a
people were talking about Indiana Jones for about all of a week and a half.
I was turning over the idea in my head of doing a podcast towards the end of June, and then I didn't get around to it. And then we got busy working for a client. And then I was like, I can't prioritize the podcast first right now. I need to look at the rest of the Forest Creek and get things ready. Just letting everybody know some interesting things will be announced for episode 40.
Whoa.
Like it'll be a new era. But while we're here for 39, doing our second ever episode. Yeah, it's been almost 3 months now.
Since 38?
Yeah, this episode is going to come out probably in October. And
You're not going to release it today on the last day of September?
no. So it'll technically have been at least 3 months
Ah,
since this podcast went on.
there we go.
Beforehand, I was saying constantly, it's like, yeah, we're going to watch both Oppenheimer and Barbie and review them
Yeah.
at the same time. No, we didn't end up doing it. And I'm kind of glad we didn't. I did not need to jump on that stupidity train that was Barbenheimer.
We still haven't seen Ninja Turtles.
That was also on the list to do. But
Yeah.
I was like, I think looking back at how I was planning it for the year, I just looked up what are the movies that are coming out this year, and I want to go see as many of them and review as many of them.
Yeah.
And then ended up not having the time or logistical bandwidth to do
Yeah.
that. Which I'd still like to do it, but maybe once a month, not like 3 in a row. No Barbenheimers, please. Thank you. We don't need to do that. Did you see either of those movies?
Nope.
I saw Barbie. I planned to see Oppenheimer and never did. Barbie was entertaining. It was entertaining when I turned my brain off. But it's one of those movies that wants you to turn your brain on
Interesting. Because it's a Barbie movie.
because it has a lot of stuff to say.
Interesting.
Which it should. It's a Barbie movie, and
Yeah.
Barbie's a complex topic. I actually really like the way that they kind of take you in slowly into Barbie's history a little bit to kind of show that, before Barbie, girls played with babies as the dolls.
Oh, yeah.
It was all stuff about how to be a housewife, but the thing that Barbie introduced was that she was the career woman and always doing everything. Right? And they just kept adding stuff and making Barbie more and more complex. So it was interesting to look at that, to look at something that starts off by celebrating the Barbie heritage, but then introduces the controversy of it as a plot point almost. But here's the odd thing about Barbie is that the character that is the most liked in it apparently is Ken.
Yeah.
And I see why. It's the performances of that movie were great. At least Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie stole the show. They were amazing. Michael Cera was pretty good.
I forgot Michael Cera's in
Yeah,
that. I
it's
saw
funny.
the poster and I was like, I don't care. I'm going to see it because Michael Cera's in it.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. I enjoyed watching it. It's not amazing. It was definitely overhyped. Yeah. Although,
I mean, the marketing on those movies was amazing.
I did not wear pink.
What?
Yeah, I did not. I walked in there with an orange t-shirt. It didn't occur to
Were
me.
you the only one wearing orange?
Yeah.
Or not wearing pink, I suppose?
Yeah.
Really?
It didn't occur to me at all
Everybody
until I
else
was
is wearing
standing
pink?
in line getting popcorn. I did not
That's wild.
consider that I should be wearing pink.
You should feel ashamed.
I guess. I also didn't cry in the mother-daughter scene. There's a mother-daughter montage at some point, and a lot of people cry. My sister cried. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because I was walking out of that theater with my sister, and she stops at the Oppenheimer poster. She's like, we should go see that next. We didn't do it today. And I was
Yeah.
like, honestly, I think that's the order to do it too, because Barbie is just so surreal that you'll want to watch Oppenheimer just to reground yourself to reality.
Interesting.
But my sister stopped at that poster. She's like, "What is that about anyway?" I was like, "It's the guy who invented
Oppenheimer.
It's about Oppenheimer. It's the guy who invented the nuclear bomb."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, that's a real person?" oh, this is why there is a. What was?
I will say I didn't know the guy's name, so when it's like Oppenheimer, I was like, oh, I wonder what thing that's about. It's like it's the nuclear bomb. Like, okay.
This is why there is a patriarchy. Because, I mean, that's a solid point. Yeah, so I didn't see Oppenheimer because I kept wanting to, but I couldn't find someone to see it with, and it's 3 hours.
That's yeah, and I think the thing, a movie can be 3 hours, but I'd heard from a few different people that it did not need to be 3 hours. And that's what I'm not a fan of.
I'm
like
sure
the Lord of the Rings series, those make good 3 hour movies. It passes by and you're like, whoa, that was 3 hours? That's wild.
It's the spectacle of the thing.
Exactly.
And there's only one moment in there that we know is going to be like one big spectacle, and that's we all want to see the bomb go off in IMAX.
Yes.
I would have liked to. I don't want to wait for another 2 hours and 58 minutes to get,
Yeah. I guess
I'm sure the performances are amazing, but they'll be amazing on Netflix.
Yeah.
So there's no immediate rush. I just know he made it for IMAX because he wants everybody to buy IMAX tickets so he can make more money. Sure. I get it. Understand. But also, it's 3 hours. And apparently Oppenheimer was a dog and just going after everybody's wife. So that's a lot of the movie. And the guy Oppenheimer himself is not that aspirational, is not to me. Of course, I'm not a physicist. I'm sure it would have been different otherwise.
Then shut up.
Yeah. So those are the 2 movie reviews that didn't happen from this podcast. What else did
they just did. They just did.
I guess, yeah.
There we go. We should release that little snippet as the Barbenheimer review episode.
We'll just entitle this episode.
Yeah.
That'll be 39.5. Barbie and Oppenheimer. That's what we've got so far. Yeah, but it's been a minute since we did this podcast. And we're still kind of like at episode 39 now. We're still kind of ahead of the game when it comes to podcasting. What do I mean by that? Well, how many episodes is your podcast? Let me know. How many episodes do you have?
You make a podcast. Well, you do it.
Look, not everybody is a famous comedian who's going to at least clock a few hundred episodes. Not everybody is Joe Rogan with way over 2,000 now.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Probably into 3,000? I don't know.
Oh, man, I recently watched his Honeybee episode. I think that was episode 2009, I believe.
I'm not going to look it up right now. Who cares?
The Honeybee woman. What was her name? Emma something?
Yeah, you've become addicted to bees now.
Yeah, we don't need to get into that, but we can.
I kind of want to.
Dude. Oh, my goodness.
Don't go too far. Just give us a glimpse into your world.
Yeah, it's just been learning everything. I spent a whole week, as much time as I could, watching videos on beekeeping. And just learning all the different things. Because I knew you had a box and they had frames in them.
Yeah.
And
you wear some net suits.
Yeah. But yeah, you wear the net suits.
Nicolas Cage yourself.
Here's the thing. You don't need to wear the suits. A lot of the times they don't wear the suits. Because bees actually really don't care if you go rummaging around in their hive.
Really?
Yeah.
Because we're taught the opposite as children.
Exactly. And I mean, you're taught the opposite by wasps and hornets. Because they will just go find you and kill you.
That is true. They will attempt to actually murder you.
Yeah, but constantly in these videos, they're like, oh, the bees are friendly. This hive is friendly. This hive's a bit violent, so I'll wear a net with that hive, but this hive is good. Oh, today they're rather nice. Apparently the smoke, because when you ever see beekeeping videos, they're always spraying with smoke. What it does is it interrupts their, communications, essentially. Whatever senses they have, their antenna and whatnot. So it kind of discombobulates them and chills them out. So if there's a particularly violent hive, spray them with some smoke and they'll chill out for a bit.
What kind of smoke is that?
It's literally that blew my mind because I was like, what's in these canisters that they're spraying? They literally just fill it with sticks and twigs, and burlap is a common thing. They'll just fill it with flammable material.
Oh, so it's just anything
and light it on fire. So it's just actual smoke.
You're gonna hit them with pipe tobacco? Just
yeah.
Smoke your bees out.
That'd be amazing.
What would that do to the honey? Yo, that's actually kind of cool.
Well, you know what's interesting about the honey? They can actually, wherever they grab sugar from, or the sweet nectar, so to speak, the honey will be that color. And so sometimes there's darker or lighter nectar.
Right.
And so that's where you get the different levels of honey brightness, so to speak. But what's funny, I heard there was some sort of festival going on during a season, and this one beekeeper, his whole batch of honey for that year was ruined because all the bees had grabbed sugar syrup from a snow cone maker.
Oh.
All of his honey was like green and red and purple.
In Tibet,
Yeah.
there's this one monastery that sells this purple honey that is psychedelic.
Whoa.
Because the bees are like on the side of a mountain right below where there's this like psychedelic flower grows. So the bees will go get the pollen from that and use that to make their honey, and it comes
That's
out purple and has
wild.
psychedelic properties, like minor ones.
That's so cool.
And it's got to be like harvested by a Tibetan monk who has to like climb the side of a mountain. It's like there's so much novelty to that. I'm so curious
So
about
you
it.
can get high.
I'm curious about this honey. The fact that it's purple alone.
Yeah.
Actually, purple honey, you can buy it here in BC. There's lavender farms that
Oh.
sell purple honey.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's like
That's so cool.
I'm curious what other kind of plants you can have that.
I mean, anything that gives you nectar. But you know what's really interesting about bees? They're actually called a superorganism because they're not just an individual bee. They act as one organism, the colony.
Yes.
So the colony is essentially an organism because they'll all communicate with each other and tell each other where to go and things, and they're all working for the good of the colony. And they'll even, if they don't like a queen, they will kill her and make a new one.
Bee rebellion.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of mimics real life. It's like, the ones that put you in power can take you out. But it's really interesting when a bee hive grows really big. One of the things you've got to watch out for as a beekeeper is swarming, because bee colonies will actually naturally realize they're too big, and it's like bee mitosis. They will split,
Oh.
and you won't have any bees because they'll both swarm and leave this hive. They'll start making new queens, and once these queens are ready, they'll split off into a bunch of different swarms and go find other places to hive up.
Well, that mean it'll just leave an empty hive behind.
Yeah, I've actually seen a bunch of videos where the guy
That's actually kind
pops
of
over to his hive.
A
Yeah.
cool way to get them to go away so I could just take the hive. with all
You don't
the
even
time.
need to, because what they do is, so you've got the bottom box of the big is the deepest. It's called a deep, and you can have generally you have 1 or 2 deep hives. Like a standard setup is 2 deep hives and 1 honey super. Honey supers are about half the size of a deep, and they hold the frames that have all the honey.
Yo, okay.
It's so cool. So the deep is where the hive is, and they'll put honey there, but mainly that's for growing the colony. And then what you can do, what most beekeepers will do, from what I understand, is they put a frame layer between, like this plastic frame. It's like a little thin plastic net, sort of.
Yeah.
Between the top deep and the first honey super, and it's called a queen excluder. It's basically a plastic net, and the spaces are small enough that a queen can't get through, but big enough that the workers can. And so only worker bees can go up to the honey supers, which is how they're able to separate, to make sure no colonies are being grown there. So they're not going to get a bunch of bees going up there eating their honey, or even if you go to harvest, you're not going to get a bunch of eggs in your honey. Because the queen can't go up there, she's the only one that can make new bees, so she's trapped in the supers, and she's laying bees there. So for a fact, all of the supers only contain honey. And what's even more interesting with the beeswax, it seems there's different kinds of beeswax depending on what they're making. So if they're let's say in the honey supers,
Yeah.
what you're looking for, you can pull off the lid and pull a frame of honey, and you'll have the huge honeycombs, and you'll see all the honey, all the nectar going on, but then you'll start seeing beeswax layering over top. That's what they call it. It's called capping the honey.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets to the moisture level that they want, because honey is apparently just nectar with some sugars.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really interesting though. And when they cap it over, you can tell the difference between a honey cap and what was it called? A brood cap. So brood, that's where all the eggs are. So honey caps are this nice white, it's pretty rough cap.
What do you use the wax for from that?
You don't get a whole ton of wax, but that's where they make like candles and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. And but from what I've seen, it's like you need to have either a lot of bee boxes or wait many, many years before you can harvest enough wax.
Oh.
You'll probably get about like 10 to 15 times, or maybe even 20 times more honey than you'll get wax.
If I'm looking at doing this as a side hustle,
Yeah.
am I getting enough? Like, first you get into it because it's a cool hobby.
Yeah.
What's the entry point? You know, how much money do I need to spend to start making enough honey to start selling?
Based on one guy.
So you're echoing a lot. I have no idea why.
Yeah, I can't figure that out either.
It's like,
I've got
I
the...
can make you this loud. How about this?
Maybe I'll just angle this a bit. The Audio Technica thing was slightly over that way.
Yeah.
But
There
that
we go.
shouldn't be a
Now
major
you sound
difference.
good.
Oh, really?
Now you sound good.
That was
I
like a
think
2
'cause
degree
you were up here-
difference.
you were like just talking, and I was hearing you bounce off of the
Interesting.
room. Yeah.
It's like a 2 degree difference in the
Now
mic.
I hear you correctly.
Wild.
See, this is the kind of bullshit we've been doing for 38 episodes. I want episode 40 to be like, we're now at a consistently higher level of quality. Like, it should sound more like this.
Interesting.
Now we have art lists, so we can use music that is not stolen from YouTube,
Hey.
which was like the number one thing. I still want to get back into start doing like a few guitar riffs here and there and just throw them into the episodes as intros and stuff. That'd be a cool one. I wanted to do Money for Nothing coming into this, but I don't feel like that's the vibe anymore. It's a song by Dire Straits. Anyway, so
Fancy.
side hustles, bees.
Yeah, bees.
We're into the bee side hustle now.
I haven't looked too much into profit.
You've heard of rare fish.
Have you heard of rare bees?
Hey, maybe there are rare bees.
I'm sure there are.
I just don't want to be around bees. That's my.
I've actually seen there's a whole ton of different species of honeybee. There's even ones that the bees themselves are purple.
Yo, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah. Crazy stuff.
I mean-
and actually, this is really interesting. That's where bees as a declining population, not honeybees, because we keep them populated with our bee boxes, but it's all the types of other honeybees or so in
Yeah.
this same line of species of bee, like this purple one, they're dying because we don't cultivate them. I don't know why. I assume they're not as profitable, or they make stuff that's not very edible or not good or not delicious, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Those are the types of bees that are declining in population.
Yeah, I guess it's, we can't use capitalism to on them. So it's just, what's the
Yeah.
point, really?
Yeah, but anyways, yeah,
This
getting back
is
to side
natural
hustle.
evolution.
There you go.
You apply money, apply an economy to it, see how it goes.
Oh, you know what's really interesting? Diversity in like biodiversity with plants. It's sort of like bees and plants are codependent on each other to a degree.
Well, you were into plants before you were into bees.
Yes.
Yes.
I guess this I'm more
And you're
talking
still
about.
in
Oh
plants,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I still love plants. I've got 34 last I counted.
It's going to be a lot of bumblebees and wandering Jews around your garden, which is the name of a plant. I want to be very specific with. Apparently, people don't even call it that. They haven't called it that for like 30 years. It's
No,
just, you're
lots
trying to
of people
resurrect the
call
name.
it, but it's also called an inch plant. But I like wandering Jew because it's funny. It also has been
Why is it
accurate
funny,
for
Jared?
my house because the word Jew. That's why. But it's actually been rather accurate around my house because so I would knock it down and then it would break off because it's rather fragile.
Okay.
And then, but it propagates really fast and really easy. And so I'll break it on accident, and then I'll take those branches and I'll put them
Yeah.
in water and I'll propagate it and I'll make a new plant. And then I'll accidentally break it again, and I've done this about 4 or 5 times. And I keep putting them in different corners of my house. So now I started with a wandering Jew in one corner. It was decent size. And now it's still a decent size, but it's had 4 children.
That are
And I've
all
spread them
over.
all over my house.
We're just in
So the name is accurate for me.
wandering.
Yeah.
Isn't the wandering part of
Yes, they're not religious.
the name? Or of a specific ethnicity. Yeah. Where do we go from here?
Yeah,
Second episode
yeah.
ever. What do we want to do with this show going forward? Because I kind of,
Nothing.
going back to first episode, I re-listened to part of it, which our sound was way different back then.
It was bad.
It was just different. Like, I didn't know what I was doing just yet. Or, like, I didn't know what the regular thing that sounded good with us would be. So, like, the first 7 episodes since there, really, I was, like, playing around with different filters,
Yeah.
different settings and stuff. So it almost, like, the quality is different.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm not sure what it'll be like here. Like, we're still hit and miss with our setups quality. Like, even here, we got some echoes going around. Because we're in a dining room.
Just fix it in post.
I always do. And now I'm better at it, is my
go.
point. Yeah. Coordinating the podcast, it really depends on what the heck we're doing.
You
for the
randomly
show.
texting me saying podcast,
Well-
and then we go to highs.
The times where it was like really well executed was we go see movie, we sit down after movie,
Yeah.
we review movie.
Yeah. But then we're stuck in the loop of only movie reviews.
Yes, which wasn't the point. It's just that's the easiest
Yeah.
podcast to make.
But we like, I mean, my favorite episode is the one where we get deep into philosophy and stuff.
Those are some of the most fun.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we could always be better prepared for it, or I could spend more time researching it.
We could.
We could, but would it have its low budget charm? Which is the point, is that I want to, let's step it up. At some point, we'll introduce the video element.
Hmm. We'll start spending money on this for no reason.
I've already, but we've been flirting with the idea of introducing a video element. We tried it once, but didn't end up,
Oh
pulling it
yeah,
off.
no, because we forgot to. We shot at UHD, which was already a bad idea.
Yeah.
And then we forgot to format the card, so we only got 20 minutes of the hour or so that we filmed.
I've done a couple. I recorded one with our friends at J&K Dynamics, and for that one,
Was that video?
well, no. But here's the
Okay.
thing: we got to a point where he was showing me a few things on the lightsabers
Yeah.
that he makes, and I took a video of it that I could then layer over when it plays on YouTube.
I see.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that one because it'll have a visual element to it. But in terms of, just setting up a couple HD cameras to roll and also just live streaming,
Yeah.
that'll be the next step up, right?
Dang, live stream this? No cuts?
That is a little bit worrisome. We're going to have to be very good at the show to do that. I mean, I'm generally better at both performing on the podcast and cutting it, so it's not so bad. But, still want it to be good enough to put out. Although live streaming is going to be fun. There's a lot more fun to
That'll
it.
be interesting.
Yeah.
I'll get that 24/7 stream lined up. We can just play all of our podcast episodes.
Just in a row.
Yeah.
I wonder how many hours that is in total now.
I mean, generally, like, we got some 40-minute
here's
episodes
the
here
thing.
and there, but it's generally an hour and a half, right?
We all, some up to that.
Yeah.
Actually, I would say it varies
38
between.
episodes? Easy 24 hours, 24/7 podcast.
At least it's got like a day's worth of stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
And we say 39 episodes now. One of them is a 3-parter. One of them is a 2-parter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Is that your John Wick one? That doesn't count as a 2-parter. The first part is 10 minutes.
Kind of. Well, a couple of them are actually really short because I did a Christmas episode where I read a poem.
Oh, yeah. Some of those are only like 12 minutes. Yeah. We'd have 24 hours.
Something like that. I think I enjoyed the ones the most that like we start by talking about a movie and then go into talking about other things.
Yeah.
Like I did one with AD and Merc where we
Oh, you talked about Thor? Or was that Shrek?
that was we watched an episode of Ash versus the Evil Dead
That's what it was.
and then we sat down and just talked about that stuff.
Yeah.
With Chance, my favorite episode that I've done so far is Into the
dude.
Santaverse.
Such a good episode.
We watched a few episodes of Tim Allen's Santa Claus TV show, which was great. And then we sat down and talked about it and just had a blast. That was one of my favorite episodes.
So
Easily.
good.
Yeah. Also notable, the 3-parter that we did with Father AP, who's
Yeah.
been like our only guest, really. Everybody else has
Chance
been...
counts.
Chance is not a guest. He's part of the he's part of the family. Like, would you say Kyle was a guest at this point?
I mean, he's only been in one episode.
I mean, one that we've released. No, wait.
You
Has
haven't
he
released that.
not been in other ones?
No, he was just in that one.
I know he was in Datter Day that we released.
Yes.
But he was in a couple that were before. That
I guess he's been in things, unreleased things.
he was popular between episodes 1 through 6. We'll say that. And a hidden episode 13 that I don't know. It's just the flame is gone. I'm probably not going to get to it. Sorry, everybody.
Put it on the future Patreon.
Yeah, at some point. I don't know if it'll be that good. Actually, I cut it together for Kyle, just like an unedited version because
Oh,
he asked
sweet.
for it at some point. So maybe I'll listen to that and see how good it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was early on. I didn't really know what I was doing 100% yet. We invited our firearms instructor to
Yeah.
come and like talk with us, and I didn't plan for it very well. But still, Kyle had a good time. I think the guy had a good time doing it, but yeah. He was one of those harder people to read, isn't Yeah. Who is some dream guests that you want to do?
Dream guest. This guy at East Cafe, Josh.
Josh.
Yeah. He's pretty interesting. So he's ran this place and he's got a huge focus on local community.
Yes.
I've been to all the cafes, most of the cafes around my workplace, and this is the only one that's consistently the owner will talk with you, the baristas talk with you, and it's like, I don't know, it fosters that. There's something about it that just fosters a community, especially
He'd be
the
interesting to
thing.
talk to then.
Huh?
He'd be interesting to talk to just because, like, how do you build that kind of community?
It's
as a
interesting. He's
business,
also
right?
very, like, because he's very business mindset.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that initially. I was like, oh, he's just owns a cafe and he wants to build a community. And he was, I was sitting there chilling one day and he's heading out. I was like, oh, you heading out, just like leaving out the baristas. Obviously, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
You're an owner, you do that. And he was like, yeah, I'm off to I've got a meeting with a realtor. I was like, oh, getting into realty. He's like, oh, I'm always looking for the next business opportunity. I was like, huh, that's really interesting. I don't think like that.
I know you don't think like that. That's an interesting thing to bring up, though, is that I'd like to talk to a lot more business owners on this show. See if we can extend it out there. Just to, like, even locally. Be just cool to get to know where we live and like, meet all these people. And
That's
all
just
this
great. Know what I would also like to have on? It would be interesting to have the Of Artistry members on.
I've
be
been
cool.
following them for that only purpose. I've never listened to a single thing they've done unless it was the review.
Dude, their latest album, Heller Up Above, so amazing. And then they came out with an acoustic version of it that's mind-blowing.
We've been talking to a lot of our friends who are artists and thinking about, like, oh, this would be great to do on a show.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of that. I'd like to do something with our clients at some point. That'd be cool. Yeah, there's a lot of places this podcast can go. Because I have a lot of ideas, and I think I'm getting close to, like, what can we put out that's good. I'm still kicking myself because I said that a long time ago, I said that by now I'd have Turn Up Taverns running.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's an old goal, and I'm like, I just don't have time.
Yeah.
I don't have the bandwidth for it. But, that's one of the things we're working on, is to expand this company to the point where we can work on the parts that we want to work on, too. It's funny, you want to build something like this so that you can get to a point where you can do it full time, because then you're working for the company you want to work for.
Yeah.
And then even within that, you want to get it big enough to a point where you're doing the work you want to do, right?
Yeah.
And not just side stuff or
Yeah.
taking care of every little logistic.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a noun. Logistic feels right.
Yeah, if there's logistics, there's bound to be one logistic.
Do you want to invite James on the show?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
James,
that'd be great.
Please join us on the Forest Creek podcast.
At some point. I feel like it'll be a company.
I actually am very interested to know the hiring process at Highs, so to speak, or like what a waiter would go there. Because normally when you think of
I feel like
the job of a waiter, you're like, oh, it's just while they're in college, they don't make much money, so they make tips. But this place, surely you've got to be at the top of your game.
Who is the owner of Highs?
Yeah.
He'd be an interesting person to meet. I'd like to know what goes on.
We should get the owner of Highs on here.
We should do a lot of these
That'd be
Vancouver
great.
businesses and start learning more. What about the gentleman at the cigar shop?
Oh, which one?
Which one's your favorite?
Honestly, it's the guy. He's a rather new hire. I can't remember his name. I saw him today. I should have asked. But when you picture a pipe smoker in your mind, that's him. He wears slacks and he's got the collared shirt. He has perfectly combed hair. He has the most neatly trimmed mustache you have ever seen. He's got nice glasses on. He's a tall guy. Like, dang, that guy smokes. He smokes fancy. That
And
guy
he
smokes
knows
a pipe.
exactly what he's doing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The day I walked in and saw him for the first time, I don't think he'd been working there for more than a week. And he was so excited to explain to me everything about pipes. And I came in for cigars, and that was like him being so excited about pipes and talking to me about it made me want to smoke a pipe about a week later.
That's one of my favorite things, when somebody that you're working who's like a service person is like excited about what they're doing.
Like it's
was
infectious.
Hyped. It's infectious.
Yeah, I'd love to get him on.
I've dealt with a lot of people in sales before, and you deal with them all the time when you go to like any one of these stores. But if there's somebody who makes commission off of something or receives a tip, they're gonna go an extra mile for you, and that's always so cool to see. It's like, because that's what turns the business from being just a business to being like, this is a human experience. This is a connection. It's not just your order at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Which is very impersonal. Actually, now that we've talked about one of the highest dining points, here's one of my lowest. Going to a McDonald's late in the night.
Yeah.
And seeming like to having to repeat myself multiple times into the thing, which is like, it wasn't a language barrier. It wasn't anything like that. It was just, I'm saying the thing and you don't seem to be computing it on your end. At one point, I asked for a cookie, and then I roll up to the thing and get the bag, and they name off a bunch of items that are in there, or at least supposed to be. And then I asked for, was there a cookie in there? I'm like, oh yeah, we'll get that for you. They come back and they give me like a little, like one of those cardboard sleeves for a really small burger from like a kid's meal.
Yeah.
Like, we would just put it in here because it's really hot. All right, whatever. Just took it. I was like, okay, bye. I just put it in the bag and left. And I pull up home. I open the bag. Oh, a couple things are missing. Damn it. I pull out that little cardboard box.
Yeah.
Open it. There's a raw beef patty in there.
No way.
Yeah.
What?
That was my last time at McDonald's, and probably
Patty.
the worst thing that any person in the service industry.
Oh my god.
Well, I don't even know if that is the service industry. Just the worst customer experience I've ever
That
had.
was wild.
Yeah.
And this is why you only ever order the 20-pack of nuggets.
This is why I never go to McDonald's ever again.
You know, that's the better option.
Hey, the nuggets were fun. I was 12 at some point in my life. We've moved on. Now we go to get steak.
You're right. Now we get Dino Nuggies.
It's funny to go to a restaurant like that. Now we've circled back to Highs.
Yeah.
It's funny to
As
go
we
to
always do.
a restaurant like that and just watching it change somebody's palate.
Dude.
Just, we're not the same now. Like your sense of taste before and after Highs.
My sense of taste.
I don't know, just like your taste in food.
I don't know. It's more so that because I grew up a rather picky eater, and in the last however many years, I've been expanding my horizons, and knowing the level of quality that Highs has on its food, I'm willing to stretch myself more.
Yes. You
So-
weren't a big seafood person.
Not just not a big seafood person. When I had the smallest corner of a piece of seaweed one time, and I've almost vomited. Like that's
It's
how
like-
no seafood in my mouth it gets.
It was in the ocean at some point. It's going to trigger your gut
Yes.
reflex.
So, yeah, it's like for whatever reason, I would love to eat seafood because everyone makes it sound so amazing. There's so much of it, and actually, Tim Dillon made such a great point. He's like, 70% of the world is filled with fish, and it's an ocean.
Yeah.
If you say I don't eat seafood, something is wrong with you. And I was like, shoot, man. I know that's a bit, but you're right. It's like I believe that. And so that was where
we went to Highs.
Yes.
I was like we were looking at the appetizer. We're like, let's play some games.
Yeah.
Let's figure out what we want. Because we got like a beefsteak tomato at one point.
Oh my
with Stilton
gosh.
cheese on it. We're like, we did not expect a tomato to be this good.
I bought beefsteak tomatoes since.
And then we're looking at the list the next time we go through. We're like, all right, let's be serious about how we tackle this appetizer.
Yeah.
And we juggled a bunch of options around. We're in a dilemma.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I really want to try the Atlantic salmon smoked capers.
Yeah.
And you were back and forth.
Yeah,
Back and
because
forth.
there
We
was
had a
the
beef carpaccio.
that
was the other
beef
option.
carpaccio was the other option because I knew you didn't want a salad again, even as much as I wanted that beefsteak tomato.
You wanted soup at some point.
French onions. I more just so didn't want fish.
Oh.
There was also the soup of the day, whatever that would have been, unless it was soup. I mean, unless it was fishy.
But then we kind of issued a challenge.
Well, yeah, because so I'd eaten raw fish before, in that my buddy took me to a nice sushi restaurant, and he's like, "Let's not try sashimi, but nigiri sushi."
Yes.
And so I had salmon and tuna in that form, and it was delicious. I was like, okay, it didn't taste fishy. It had a really nice texture, actually.
Nigiri is my favorite type of sushi.
It's delightful. And so when I came to Highs, it was the same thing with trying a rare steak for the first time, which was amazing. I was like, okay, these are high enough quality chefs, very high quality ingredients.
That was the thing, is I was pointing at menu items and being like, anywhere else,
Exactly.
it would be forgivable for you to just not consider it at all.
Yeah.
But now, like, we're here.
Mm-hmm.
We want to, like, hit the full range of our palates.
Yeah. And James kept telling us about how Atlantic fish is so much better than any
It's
other fish.
fattier
It's
and it
fattier.
melts more.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah. Never forget.
It was like it was smoked fish, and not only
It was
Not
cold
only that,
smoked.
not only like
Whatever
was
that
it
means.
fish, it was also capers, which is not something a lot of people like.
Yeah, and you mentioned they were like similar to sardines in saltiness. I was like, that threw me off.
That was like the one time I had them, they were like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not necessarily how they always are, but it is a popular, British thing
Mm-hmm.
to have capers, especially in the morning. I was like, fish in the morning? What? Right? I guess some people like it.
But yeah, so we got the Atlantic smoke. Was it salmon?
Yes.
Okay, Atlantic cold smoked salmon.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was so
I
amazing.
think today alone you've referenced the steak Diane how many times?
Only like 3 or 4, surely.
The fact that we have
But dang,
referenced
man.
this dish so many times, like the steak was buttery.
So here's the thing.
It was tableside service as
Here's
well.
the thing.
Yeah.
James tableside service. It's a labor of love.
As he put it. And indeed, it does come out in the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether it is the bananas Foster, the tartare.
Yeah, with this tableside service thing, it blows my mind how amazing a dish they can make in under like 3 minutes.
Right? Because it
Like-
would take us
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
And
'Cause I'd be
start a
like,
fire
how the
in your
heck do I do
kitchen.
this? Yeah. Oh, dude, the flambe. So sick.
Yeah. That's almost really cool to watch.
He almost burnt his eyebrows off.
I liked the extra, the touch at the end. Like, not only are the desserts nice, not only are the cocktails fantastic,
Mm-hmm.
or the wine list excellent, but the fact that there's like a list of there's cheeses. You can just
What do you-
order an
what do you call
artisanal
it?
cheese at the end. What do I call
What's
it?
the Arabic thing?
Oh, yes. I was teaching you this thing where, like, there's a term that I've heard people say towards the end of a meal when they just get a little piece of cheese after dessert to finish off the palate. It's like having something salty at the end so you don't feel the need to eat more. Hadda.
Hadda.
That's us for today, everybody. Episode 2.
Hadda.
Yeah, so this has been a fun podcast, and we're all done now. It's never happened. No, kidding.
See ya.
Look out for episode 40 where we get serious. We
Yeah.
get serious and professional and start talking to people about business, which is legitimately what I would like to do. I would like to review more movies. I'd like to talk about more philosophical things. I'm going to avoid doing history
Oh,
and
interesting.
these.
But you recently explained to me the entire story of Troy.
I got it off my chest now because I was reading about that a ton and I was like really interested in it. I'm like, I feel like I could do
Yeah.
this fun, and I got it off my chest, and now I'm like, I don't want to be a history podcast. There's enough history podcasts. I like making references.
Yeah.
I don't want to do the documentary. I'm not Dan Carlin. I'm just gonna sit here and talk about how 2 armies, or when a letter was written. He has that like specific cadence when he's going at the microphone, and it's like really engaging to listen to.
Yeah.
But also 4-hour-long podcast episodes.
Ooh, we should do that. But it just about nothing.
Well, we did do a 3-hour one, and I cut in 3 pieces.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that'll be the way. Look out for more of those. Look out. It's funny. It's been enough time that I'm like trying to remember in my head how I did the sign-offs.
Oh, yeah. Just go follow us.
I'll-
Email.
Shut up, Jared. Here's how we do it, okay? We are at The Forest Creek everywhere, mainly on Instagram, mainly on YouTube at The Real Forest Creek, youtube.com/at The Real Forest Creek. You can find us at theforestcreekweb.com, or you can read about our services that we will be offering and continue. Well, we're offering now and will continue to offer at a, if anything, more professional level going forward. We're excited about the work we're doing right now with a client. Check them out at St. George. And if you ever want to reach out to us, we're theforestcreek@gmail.com, where we'll be accepting all your messages. Tell us about what you want to hear, what you want to see from us, what do you think we should tackle and challenge next, or where you would like to go to dinner. Hit us up at The Forest Creek.
Maybe we should start doing dinner reviews.
I would be down to do more restaurant reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we definitely would have to accompany a visual element.
Here's the thing. Then we'd have to not go to Highs.
Not if we put it on the list. As every second restaurant. Okay.
Every other restaurant review is Highs.
Well, it's been the very second episode of the Forest Creek podcast. I'm Raph.
I'm Jared.
Bye, James.
Bye, James.
And everybody
Come on
else.
the podcast.
See ya.